It happened during one of those long summer afternoons when the heat outside felt like it had weight, when the kind of people who normally had too much to say decided to take their chaos indoors. I was working the closing shift at a discount department store in a small southern town just off Route 64. Nothing fancy, just a typical place with bright lights, red shirts, and price scanners that beeped too loud. I was on register 3, like I always was, trying to make it through the tail end of my double shift without thinking too hard about the fact that I still had to head to my night job at the diner after. That's when she walked in, heels clacking like gunshots across the polished tile floor, her purse swinging like it had a purpose of its own. She had that air about her, the kind of woman who didn't just expect the world to revolve around her, she assumed it already did. Her name, I later found out, was Gloria Pendleton. But if you'd seen the way she marched up to my register and stared down at me like I was gum on her shoe, you'd swear her name was Ma'am. Gloria was maybe in her 50s, dressed like someone trying very hard not to admit it, with frosted curls and a pearl necklace that didn't quite match the yoga pants she'd paired it with. She tossed 3 pairs of discounted capris on the conveyor belt, looked me straight in the eye, and said, "It's about time someone opened this lane. Took you long enough, sweetheart." I smiled politely, like I always do. "Sorry about the wait. I'll get you rung up real quick." And that's where I apparently messed up, because I didn't say ma'am. She froze. I swear, the air around us got 10 degrees colder. "Excuse me," she said, loud enough that the older gentleman in line behind her actually took a step back. I looked up, confused. "I'm sorry, was something wrong?" "You didn't address me properly," she snapped. "Where I'm from, we teach kids respect. You call a woman your elder, ma'am, especially when she's being gracious enough to shop at your store." Now, I've dealt with rude customers before. Folks who bark orders, or don't make eye contact, or throw their credit card at me like I'm a vending machine. But this was different. Gloria wasn't annoyed, I think she was offended. Like I'd insulted her bloodline by not using one specific syllable. "I apologize, ma'am," I said carefully, trying to move past it. "Would you like a bag today?" She narrowed her eyes. "Too late for that now. You young people are so entitled, so full of yourselves, walking around like the world owes you something just because you exist." I kept scanning, trying to stay calm. "I didn't mean any disrespect, I promise. I'm just doing my best to help everyone get out of here before closing." And then she did it. She swiped her arm across the rack of folded summer shirts next to the register, knocking every single one onto the floor like a magician revealing a trick. The whole section fell in a loud, dramatic wave, bright neon tees tumbling everywhere. "There," she yelled. "Maybe now you'll remember how to speak to a lady." A few people gasped. The woman behind her in line stepped back, clutching her basket like it might shield her from whatever was coming next. My hand paused on the barcode scanner, my heart pounding in my ears. I don't remember deciding to stay calm. It was just something I'd trained myself to do, like a reflex from years of being the peacekeeper in situations I didn't create. I stepped out from behind the counter, knelt down, and began folding the shirts again, one by one, quietly. The store manager, Evan, rushed over at that point. He's a few years older than me, the kind of guy who doesn't like confrontation unless it involves expired coupons. "Ma'am," he said gently, "we need you to refrain from damaging store property. If you're unhappy with the service, I'm happy to help you personally." Gloria crossed her arms. "I'm not the one causing a scene. I'm educating your staff on proper customer relations." Evan tried again, his voice firm this time. "We treat all our customers with respect, and we expect the same in return. Please step aside so we can help the next guest." She glared at him like he'd just denied her a throne. "Fine," she hissed, "but don't expect me to spend another $1 in this sad excuse for a store." And then she stormed out, heels clicking all the way, her head high like she thought she'd just won a moral crusade. The silence she left behind was heavier than the heat outside. I finished folding the shirts while Evan helped the next customer, who handed me a bottle of water from his cart and whispered, "You handled that better than I ever could." I smiled and thanked him, even though my hands were shaking. But later, in the stockroom during my break, I sat down and just stared at my shoes. I kept replaying it all in my head, her face, her tone, the way everyone looked at me, like I had somehow brought it on myself just by not using the right word. And I started thinking about all the times before that I'd swallowed things like that. All the little microaggressions and side comments. The sweethearts, the smile more s, that you look too young to be working two jobs. I thought about my brother. He's 12, and he's already had to grow up faster than most kids because I've been too busy working to pick him up from school every day. I thought about how hard I was trying to build a future for us that didn't include moments like this. And for the first time in a long time, I felt angry, not just hurt, but genuinely angry. Because this job wasn't supposed to be humiliating. It was supposed to be a stepping stone. That night, after my diner shift, I couldn't sleep. I started researching ways to handle aggressive customers' real conflict resolution tactics, not just smiling until your jaw aches. Then I wrote an email to Evan. I told him I wanted to start a peer support circle for our store team, a space where we could share what we go through without being told to just shake it off. I didn't know if he'd go for it, but he did. Within 2 weeks, we had 10 employees meeting after work once a week. We shared stories, some hilarious, some heartbreaking. We gave each other strategies, talked about burnout, even laughed about Gloria the Capri's Crusader, which, somehow, helped take the sting out of it. And slowly, something changed. The store felt lighter. Not because rude customers disappeared, trust me. They didn't, but because we weren't carrying it alone anymore. We had each other's backs, even if the corporate handbook didn't. One afternoon, about a month later, I was walking through the clothing section on my way to lunch and saw a new hire, Jesse, fresh out of high school, getting chewed out by a woman over a missing price tag. I stepped in, calmly helped de-escalate the situation, and when it was over, Jessie looked at me like I'd just pulled off magic. I told her, "You'll get used to it. And when you don't, you come find me." That's when I realized Gloria didn't get the last word. She didn't walk out that day and win anything. She became a turning point in my story. Not because she broke me, but because she made me build something stronger. Look, I don't know where Gloria ended up. Maybe she found another store, another teenager to unload on. Maybe she's still out there somewhere, correcting people at Starbucks and starting arguments over sandwich bread. Or maybe, just maybe, she saw herself in one of those viral videos that people quietly filmed that day and realized how small and loud she really looked. What I do know is this respect isn't about being feared or demanding titles or knocking over t-shirts to make a point. It's about seeing the person behind the name tag, the one trying to survive the day with a shred of dignity, the one who still calls you ma'am even when you don't deserve it. So yeah, I didn't call her ma'am. Not right away. But I think I showed her a whole lot more respect than she ever showed me. And if you've ever worked a job where someone like Gloria tried to make you feel small, trust me, you're not alone. You're not invisible. And you're not the problem. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever had to deal with someone like Gloria? Do you think respect is something you should demand or something you earn through action? Drop your story or your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's keep it real. Because sometimes, the smallest moments tell the biggest truths.